I'm Rizal Aaron, the Vice President of the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus, and we want to welcome you to tonight's forum. The forum is sponsored by the Black Caucus to give the community an opportunity to hear from the candidates in this particular area. We want to say thank you to Philander Smith for allowing us to use the facility, and to all of the candidates and politicians that are here tonight, and all the supporters in the community that are here to listen. I definitely won't call anybody out one by one because I think we're all equally important. So again, thank you for being here, and you're welcome, and hopefully we'll get all your questions answered tonight. If you have those index cards, make sure they get to the front table so we have them when we're ready to ask questions. At this time, we are going to turn it over to Mrs. Deborah Mitchell, one of the committee members, for the introduction of the moderator.
Good evening. Good evening. Are we ready to get some information this evening? All right. Are you dying to hear from our candidates? Good, but before that, let me introduce our moderator for this evening is Mr. Steve Jones. He's a former state legislator and is currently the Senior Vice President of Programs at Southern Bancorp Community Partners. He also serves as the Secretary of the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Steve served for 6 years in the Arkansas Legislative at the Arkansas House of Representatives. He was chair of the Peer Review Committee and the Rail and Mass Transit Subcommittee. His previous experience includes serving as a member of Earl, Arkansas City Council, vice chair of Arkansas Educational Television Network Commission, chair of the Delta Service Corps Board of Directors, and he also served on the board of the Regional Bank and general manager of major Northeast Arkansas publishing firm, and the founding managing principal of an Arkansas-based marketing and government relations firm. Steve is married to Dr. Susan Ward Jones, and they reside in Marion, Arkansas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the wonderful Mr. Steve Jones.
After hearing that, my mother would be proud of me. Thank you, Deborah, for that introduction. It's a wonderful evening here in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it's a great opportunity for us to hear from our Democratic candidates for office. Are you all excited about being here? I'm hoping that this will be a fun and informative evening. We're all family because we're all Democrats, so this will be, I know everything will be done in the appropriate manner. First up, just a couple of things. I think it has already been mentioned. Those of you who have questions, I've only actually gotten a few so far. If you have questions of any of the candidates, they're still coming in, please see this gentleman right here, Barry Jefferson, and he will accept your cards from you. We'll have time limits for these races, and before each one of them, I will let you know how many times the candidate is going to be allowed to speak. And we have a timekeeper around here somewhere with a loud gong bell or something like that. So let's not go too far over that, or any, if you will, because we have a lot of candidates that are here that we want to hear from tonight. Is that all right? Any questions? Then let's get started. First up, we'll have a video message from our United States Senator, the Honorable Mark Pryor.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry that I'm unable to join you today. I would love to be there, but I'm in Washington this week doing my job as your senator and working hard for Arkansas families. I hope I have the chance to visit with all of you very soon. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about issues that matter to all Arkansas families and to African American community in particular. As I travel across the state during breaks of the Senate calendar or when I'm home on the weekends, I'm deeply honored and humbled by the outpouring of support from folks all across the state. I think Arkansans are seeing that in November, they're going to have a choice between two candidates with very different track records in Washington. My opponent, Congressman Tom Cotton, has consistently voted against the best interest for most Arkansans. For older folks and those nearing retirement, Congressman Cotton voted to cut benefits for both Medicare and Social Security. He also voted to raise the age to 70 for both programs and begin turning Medicare over to the insurance companies. He voted to blow up the Farm Bill over his deep opposition to the food stamp program, leaving many other programs to expire that provide economic certainty to Arkansas's agricultural economy. My opponent was the only member of the Arkansas delegation to vote against the Violence Against Women Act, not once, but twice. In the same way, he was the only one who voted against affordable student loans, the very same loans he relied on to go to college. His record reflects a my way or the highway approach to legislating. That ignores the interests of Arkansans. That's no way to govern, and it's not what Arkansas needs or deserves. Arkansans need a senator who listens to them, someone who will work to make sure Arkansas comes first. Just like Isaiah says, "Come, let us reason together." Arkansans deserve a senator who is willing to come together and reason with others, regardless of whether they're Republicans or Democrats, and tackle the issues that matter most to Arkansas in a bipartisan way. I believe we have a responsibility to help those who struggle from paycheck to paycheck, often working multiple jobs to provide for their families. That is why when I was the first elected official in Arkansas to endorse the Arkansas increase in minimum wage from $6.25 to $8.50. I also supported the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Arkansas families succeed when women receive equal pay for equal work. I've also supported legislation that would direct federal resources to struggling local economies to promote their revitalization in order to make them safer and to reduce unemployment. We should always work with an eye toward Arkansas's futures. That begins by ensuring our children have access to quality, affordable education. That's why I supported legislation to strengthen the Head Start program. My opponent, on the other hand, has voted to cut it. As I mentioned earlier, my opponent would eliminate affordable student loans. I believe that any Arkansan who's willing and able to attend college should have the opportunity to do so. In addition to supporting affordable student loans and cutting student loan interest rates, I successfully passed a law that would expand online learning opportunities to historically black colleges and universities. Good quality education should be accessible and affordable to all who seek it. Education opens doors and ensures the success of our future generations. Arkansas deserves an advocate in the Senate who will work to give people of this state the tools and resources they need to succeed. They deserve someone who will make it a little easier to get ahead instead of someone who advocates for an agenda built on doing the opposite. As I've always done and always will do, I will fight to make sure Arkansas comes first.
There you have it, our United States Senator, Mark Pryor. Let's give him another hand. He's going to have, as you all know, a very, very tough race in the fall. And fortunately, Senator Pryor doesn't have any opposition, which would cause him to spend more resources in this primary. We need to keep Senator Pryor in D.C. He's a hard worker and he fights hard for our state. He always does. Keep Arkansas first. So here we are with the format for the rest of the evening. We've got some statewide office seekers that are here. We have some state legislative office candidates that are here, and we have some local candidates that are here tonight. Some of them are opposed and some of them aren't opposed. I've received questions from a number of you in the audience for those, I believe, who are opposed after scanning the questions. If there are any more questions, it's your chance to get them over right now, because I don't have a lot of them. So Barry's over there, and he'll take your questions and get those to me. So those who are unopposed, you will be allowed an opportunity to come and address the audience as well. State who you are and who you're running for. And we'll begin with the office of Arkansas Governor. The next leader of this state is going to take this state through what I believe will be some of the toughest times that we've faced in recent history. Having served over there, I know how important it is to have a governor who understands and feels for the people of Arkansas, and not only that, but has the ability to lead. We have an opportunity here to elect from our candidates a Democrat to represent this state in the governor's mansion for another 4 years and hopefully beyond. I'm going to call first Dr. Lynette Bryant, who's a Democratic candidate for governor, to come and address the audience. The race for governor will have 7 minutes each, after which we will have some follow-up questions for you. Dr. Bryant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Philander Smith College, as well as what does he want? This? Hello? It's not working. Hello? And I'd like to thank the Black Caucus, Arkansas Black Caucus. I like to stand in front as opposed to, and I like to move around. Yes, I'm running for governor. And I want to tell you how I got started and a little bit about my background. I'm an Army brat. I was basically raised on bases, traveled a lot. So then many things I have seen myself. And so I know that it is possible. My education, I graduated, well, let me go back. I graduated from high school 1 year early. There was no rules, National Honor Society, and I had completed everything that I needed, all AP classes. So they said, Dr. Bryant, you can't graduate. And I said, well, why not? I've completed everything that I needed to. And so then they couldn't fuss, especially when you have national honors. Let me turn this up. Thank you. Especially when you're National Honor Society. Then I left there, full academic ride to Delaware State University, chemistry degree, a minor in math and chemical engineering background, a master's in biochemistry from North Carolina State University, research oriented. So I have a thesis that's about this thick. Then after you do your research, you have to defend it. So it makes me research everything that I'm interested in so that I can understand what's going on. So I won't always have all the answers, but afterwards I will go back and I will try to find the best answer. So after that, I decided, okay, you get a master's, so you're going to do a PH or an MD. I decided to go the MD route. MD came from East Carolina University, then 2 years of surgery residency. What I began to understand was that education is the pillar in which this society is based on, and it is not always easy for people to get. Because you see, when I was a young girl, I used to think, I don't have this, and I don't have that. And my example was my mother. When she passed away, the church was filled, and the balconies on the top was filled as well. She was a giver, so I knew I wanted to be like her. So then I began to understand that it was not about the money. It was about making sure that our young adults are able to step forward and do well with their lives. When Martin Luther King said, I had a dream, he had a dream because he knew that everyone could get a good education and decide to become whatever it is that they wanted to be. But what I understood that our system was not like that. So I started giving in the schools, buying drums, shoes for kids, clothes for kids, anything that I could help. The teachers started saying, Dr. Bryant, would you substitute teach for me? So I said, sure. So I started substitute teaching. Then the principals are calling me. Because you see, when I teach, I want to make sure that I leave my mark. I want to make sure that my students do well. So a couple of years ago, a teacher from another school said, I have some sixth grade teachers that have sixth grade students. They're supposed to be AP, but they've been sitting in the gym. Their teacher fell and broke her hip. So he said, Dr. Bryant, would you please come in and substitute teach for me permanently? And I said, I'm in the midst of studying for my boards. And they were like, come on, Dr. Bryant. When it comes to a student, a young adult, well, they always have my heart. I turn around and I always say yes. So in doing so, I took a sixth grade math class that were supposed to be AP math students who could not add, subtract, multiply, or divide without a calculator. And in 1 month time, they were number 1 on the SOAR exam. You see, there were 5 math teachers, but it did not mean that I was better than the math teachers. What I said to the principal was, I will come in, but no hold bars. I've been working on a program for years. I'd like to use it. And it's a combination of Montessori as well as Kumon. What Kumon math does is it drills the child so that if you have deficiencies, you are able to catch up. So I did that. Each day they came in, I said, you know what, we're going to end up with a book. I gave them 1 page a day. By the time I was finished, they were number 1 on the ACTAP exam. That was about 2 months and a little over 2 months. We beat not only the school standardized exams, but the state, and we were even nationally competitive. So where does this leave me? I understand what the teachers are going through. They use a lot of their money making sure that the students understand and get what they need. So I believe that there should be an increase in teachers' pay. I also know that as hard as they work, that it is possible. So somebody asked me, Dr. Bryant, what do you think about the Common Core? And I said, throw it out the window. They said, aren't you a Democrat? I said, what does that have to do with anything? Yes, I'm a Democrat, but the problem is if the parents cannot do it and they cannot help the student, then you have to turn around and look and see and make sure that the parent can help the student when they're done. They could not. Common Core, out the window. So now let's go back and let's look at this. The students asked me, Dr. Bryant, would you continue to teach? And I said, you know what, do you think other students deserve this kind of teaching? And they said, yes. I said, well, then I'm going to run for office. So that's how I initially started running for office. But this year, I looked to see what was happening. This is what the ballot looks like. Notice that they're unopposed on the Democratic side. And I'm not supposed to be there because, you see, Mike Ross was endorsed by Governor Beebe August the 17th, 2013, when filing date is not until February the 24th. 2014, 6 months to or 181 days before filing date. I said, no, because that is not a democracy. When we work really hard, then we deserve to be a part of it. I do not want to set the table, I want to be at the table. And if somebody does not ask for your votes, noticing 12 unopposed, state and federal, the candidate can go in, vote for themselves, get 100% of the vote. That is not democracy. Look at the Republican side. Do you see all those choices? Let's make sure we have a choice in the fall by standing up to this and saying democracy must live. Vote for Dr. Lynette Bryant. Website, Vote Doc Bryant. VOTEDOCBRYANT.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lynette Bryant, candidate for governor, Democrat. Next up is Congressman Mike Ross, candidate for Arkansas governor. Thank you. You're back. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Steve, and good evening to all of you. I want to thank the Democratic Black Caucus for hosting this event and for inviting us, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and spend a little bit of time with us today. If you're not familiar with me, I'm Mike Ross, and I'm proud to be a Democratic candidate for governor of the great state of Arkansas. I'm a fifth-generation Arkansan, the son of public school educators, been married for 30 years to my best friend. Her name is Holly, and she's a practicing pharmacist, and we have 2 grown children that we're very proud of, and even picked up a son-in-law along the way, and we love him too. Former small business owner, spent 10 years in the Arkansas State Senate with Mike Beebe, 12 years in the United States House of Representatives. I want to tell you that I really didn't think I would ever run for office again when I left Congress. I was fed up with how partisan and dysfunctional things had become in Washington. And got home, and we had a lot of musical chairs and things going on, people getting in races and getting out of races, and people just weren't happy with the choices that they had on the Democrat or Republican side. It was really a grassroots effort, people from all walks of life that encouraged me to reconsider and to think about doing this. And during that time, I spent a lot of time discussing my family, my friends, praying about it. And during that time, I realized I wasn't fed up with public service. I was simply fed up with Washington. And I recognized that the last thing we need in state government is the kind of partisan bickering and dysfunction that we see in Washington today. So I can tell you my desire to serve has never been greater. I love this state. I believe in Arkansas. I believe in its people. And I think we've got so much potential and so much opportunity in this state that all of us are so very proud to call home. I think Mike Beebe's been a good governor, and I am proud to have his endorsement. I'm proud to have the endorsement of President Clinton in this race, and along with 65 of the 75 county sheriffs and many of you in this room. And I'm humbled and grateful for that, because we're all in this together. We're all in this together to try and provide more opportunities for our children, our grandchildren, and to help define what the future of this state looks like. But I think Governor Beebe's done a good job, and I want to build on the foundation he's laid, especially in the areas of education and job creation. My positive vision for the future of this state is about education, job creation, and lower fair taxes. I've been doing economic development all of my life, and I can tell you, you can have the best roads, the best infrastructure, but you must have an educated, trained, and skilled workforce if you want to attract the good-paying jobs of today and tomorrow. So with our young people, we need to start sooner. We need to finish stronger. That's why I have a pre-K plan. Little Rock is very fortunate. Every 4-year-old in Little Rock whose parents want them to go to pre-K has a seat in a pre-K classroom. Unfortunately, that's not the case for most of Arkansas. In fact, less than 50% of 4-year-olds in this state are enrolled in pre-K. Let me tell you why that's important and why my plan is to ensure that every 4-year-old whose parents want them in pre-K will have a seat in a pre-K classroom. Here's why. From the time we're born through the 3rd grade, we're learning to read. From the 4th grade through the rest of our life, we are reading to learn. When you hit the 4th grade, if you're still trying to learn to read, when you begin reading to learn, you fall behind, and oftentimes you never get caught back up. We know if you go to pre-K, you're less likely to repeat a grade, you're more likely to finish high school, you're more likely to go to college, to finish college, to be employed when other people are not, and you're less likely to end up on government assistance, and you're less likely to end up in prison. Asa Hutchinson says we cannot afford my pre-K plan, and yet he says we can afford a $100 million tax cut. Folks, to fully implement pre-K in Arkansas would be $37 million. We're spending $43 million already remediating kids when they get to college. We can cut that number in half by making pre-K available for every 4-year-old in this state whose parents want them in pre-K. Secondly, you look at 100 ninth graders today in Arkansas. 20 of them will not finish high school. 40 will go to college. Only 20 will graduate college. What about the other 80? I think that too many young people today feel like they're looked down upon if they don't go to college. Too many of them feel like they have 3 options: college, military, and minimum wage. Well, there's a 4th option out there. I still call it VOTEC, but I think the proper name now, Senator, is Career Tech, where we got great community colleges, we've got good technical schools. We need more partnerships and collaboration between our K through 12, our community colleges, our technical schools, and industry, where people can go to school. They can get a certification, they can learn a skill and get a good paying job. I was with the president of American Electric Power last week. He was telling me in less time than it takes to run for governor, you can become a certified electrical lineman. And by the way, you make more starting off than the governor makes. It's a pretty good deal. My point is, these are really good paying jobs. It helps people support themselves, their families. Here's what else it does. It helps provide Arkansas with that educated, trained, and skilled workforce we need for the jobs of today and tomorrow. College, when I was in Congress, I supported increasing Pell Grants, cutting student loan interest rates in half. We need to encourage more learning opportunities and make college affordable and accessible for those who want to go, and that's why I'm so proud we're standing here at Philander Smith tonight. One, because it's a great college. Two, because I'm a United Methodist. So we're 49th in America in terms of adults with a college degree. We can do better. Education. Education helps reduce our prison population. Education helps create more and better paying jobs. I believe everything starts with education. That's why I'm committed to being an education governor. We were only given 7 minutes, and it looks like, according to my stopwatch at least, that those 7 minutes are up. I hope you'll learn more about my plan. You can do so by visiting MikeRoss.com. It's a real honor to be here with you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both for those remarks. You've answered some of the questions that have been posed for you, but there are some individual questions, one directed to you, Dr. Bryan, and one directed to you, Congressman Ross. I'll start with yours, Congressman Ross. The question is, having voted against the Affordable Care Act, for the Iraq War, against Democrats 42% of the time in Congress, what makes you fit to serve as our Democratic nominee?
Whoever asked that question, I've got a feeling hadn't showed up on my list of supporters and contributors. Look, when I was in Congress, I represented a very conservative district. A lot of people thought I had a Democratic district because I was fortunate enough to hold it for the Democratic Party for 12 years. But the fact is, my district had the same Republican ranking as Michelle Bachmann's, and we were very fortunate to keep it in the Democratic column for 12 years. I think you know who replaced me. His name is Tom Cotton. That tells you a little bit about the makeup of the 4th Congressional District. My job as a representative, when you're a U.S. representative, your job is you can't have all 770,000 people going to Washington every week. So your job is to go and represent the majority of you in your district. And nearly 80% of the people in my district were opposed to the Affordable Care Act. Here's the deal, though, and here's a big difference between me and Asa Hutchinson. And quite frankly, if I had voted for the Affordable Care Act, I shouldn't be running for governor because anyone that voted for it can't win in Arkansas. It's just the way it is. Here's the difference in me and Asa Hutchinson, though. Asa Hutchinson spent a year dancing around the Medicaid expansion, the private option. And then he kept getting pushed by the press and pushed by the press. He kept saying he was reading it. Well, this wasn't the authorization they just got through doing. It was the reauthorization. They wrote the thing over a year ago. And a year later, he's still reading it? Really? And so when they pushed him even further, he said, well, it's a pilot project, and I'll review it when I'm governor. Well, let me tell you something. I support the private option. It's the only part of the Affordable Care Act states have any say over. It is so far removed from the Affordable Care Act that we had to go to the federal government and get a waiver to be able to implement it. It saves the state $89 million a year. How? We have all these uncompensated care programs. When you were driving here tonight, you didn't see diseased, sick people laying in the ditch. It's because we have uncompensated care programs. We'll no longer need them when everybody has access to affordable health insurance. Saves the state $89 million a year. Here's the other thing it does. The Affordable Care Act does cut reimbursements to hospitals over here. That's how we help pay for it. But as part of the Affordable Care Act, the point was made that, yeah, we're going to cut Medicare reimbursements to hospitals over here to help pay for it, but they're going to be okay because we're going to sort of make them whole again over here with the Medicaid expansion or the private option. And in those deep southern red states where they're refusing to do the Medicaid expansion, you've got rural hospitals already closing their door. Why? Because they're getting the cuts over here, but they're so hung up on all this partisan stuff that they refuse to do the Medicaid expansion or a private option over here, and therefore it's forcing our rural hospitals to close. So we need the Medicaid expansion, the private option, to help save our rural hospitals. That's why every hospital in Arkansas is for it. And by the way, it's not just rural hospitals. It means $27 million a year to UAMS. It's very important. So that is a little bit about my belief is I would have voted for the private option. I would have signed the private option, and as governor, I will vote to protect the private option If Asa Hutchinson wins, he views the 150,000 people that now have insurance, many of them for the first time in their life, he views how it's saving the rural hospitals as nothing more than a pilot project, and it will likely go away under his rule. What else did you have?
Well, I think you're over your time.
Okay. Well, I'll be glad to answer every question that was asked, but whatever you want me to do. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. By the way, the questions are 2 minutes to I don't know if I said that.
I'm from South Arkansas. I talk kind of slow.
You stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to take that off your next question, too. Next is a question directed to you, Dr. Bryant. And the question is, what will you do if elected to the General Assembly to provide affordable college education to all Arkansas students who have the requisite grades?
I like that question because you know I love education. Affordable education, that's right up my alley. I guess first of all, I need to tell you to go to my website, vote.bryant.com, and on there you'll see a little bit about pre-K. I want to take you back just a little bit. With pre-K, I would like to see it become a part of our legislature. So I'd like for folks to be able to vote on that. And what happens is that would allow everyone to end up becoming make pre-K available for everyone. So in doing that, what does that really mean? That means that when Mike Ross had said that he wanted pre-K for everyone, in July 25th, 2003, he voted no for Head Start. Now that surprised me that he voted no on Head Start 2003 because it passed by only one vote. 216 votes were nay, and yours was one of them, and 217 votes were yay. And what surprised me was Senator Bozeman understood the significance of what it meant to get early childhood education. So I was like going, Now I said, when he talked about pre-K for everyone, Obama had stated that he had wanted pre-K for everyone in his address. But he did not say how. So that made me think, why did he not say how? Because when you talk about Arkansas Better Chance, you have to be 200% below the poverty level. Then when you talk about Head Start, you have to be low income. So where does that leave the middle class people? Basically, the middle class people have been paying for pre-K all this time. So I thought, if we turned around and made an adjustment in our constitutional laws and have the people vote for it, then the middle class will now be able to get free 4-year-old pre-K. In doing so, the money that they had used before, they will be able to save. And let's talk about remediation. Also, if you put Montessori in, Kumon Math, which is a drill, you can fix those children who had a deficit. Now you've got even more money saved. You now take that money and put it on the back end of education. You've got money saved through the state, which you could use for scholarships. Your students are doing better because their foundations are fixed. So now you have money to go forward. And that's how it's done.
Thank you. Okay, now this race is pretty popular. So most of these questions are for you all, and those were the only individual ones. So the next one, just one more? Wow, let me see which one of these I want. Can I do two? All right. This will be the next question for the gubernatorial candidates, and I'll call you, Dr. Bryant, to answer it first. There are over 2,000 inmates backed up in the state prison system. What will you do to slow the growth of the state prison system while balancing the issues of crime and increased recidivism? That's a question for both of you.
Right up my alley again. You know, A lot of people end up in prison because they don't have that educational foundation. One of the things I also said, and you can go to my website, votedocbryant.com, that we need vocational skills put into the schools. It's been taken away. It used to be there a long time ago. So imagine if we had these vocational skills and also we were able to fix the foundation of people that have gone to prison. We will have less people going to prison. Now, while they are there in prison, we must not think that they're going to stay there forever. So we need to start reincorporating them back into society. We need to work so that they can feel a part of society. How do we do that? By allowing them to vote again, because they have served their time. So we need to make sure that they're able to vote again so that they can feel whole. We need to make sure that while they're in prison, that they are going through school, different types of school, like we've talked about before, electricians, vocational type skills, mechanics, all of those. And even, yes, we still do. I've gone to a prison graduation. So we have prison graduations for high school as well as going through college, getting GED. Those are the things that we need to make sure that we continue so that when they come out and step into the light, they can say, I can move forward as opposed to moving backwards. Because so many times, people do not want to hire those who have been in prison. But if we make them feel welcome, we will have a better tomorrow and a better Arkansas. Thank you.
Thank you. Congressman Ross?
First on that, Lynette mentioned that pre-K vote. I voted the same way as John Lewis and Charlie Rangel, and the NAACP asked me to. That was a Republican version of Head Start, which changed Head Start to become block grants to the states, which is what all the Republicans want. I voted the same way that every Democratic member of Congress voted on that, just to set the record straight on that. My vote saved Head Start. It was the same vote that NAACP and every Democrat in Congress voted, and you can go back and you can read statements on the fact that it was the beginning of the Republicans trying to dismantle Head Start in America, just to set the record straight on that. Prison. 52% of the folks we have in prison today are nonviolent. 42% are there on drug-related charges. We've got nearly 3,000, actually is what it is, nearly 3,000 backed up in county jails, more than ever in the history of this state, waiting for a bed in the state prison system. And I'm not going to stand here, and I'm planning on winning this election, so I'm not going to stand here and look you in the eye and tell you that we're not going to have to build another prison. There's 3,000 backed up in county jails. We may have to build another prison, but if I'm governor, part of the conditions of building that other prison is going to be prison reform. And here's what I mean by that. Folks that are there on drug charges, they need drug treatment. And they need to learn a skill and be able to get a job and pay taxes like the rest of us, because what we're doing today is we're spending $26,000 a year sending drug addicts to prison that aren't criminals, schooling them, sending them to college, if you will, on how to become criminals. It's crazy. The second thing we need to do is we need to expand the VOTEC or the career tech in our prison system. They've got a pretty decent one, but it's too small, and they don't think outside the box enough. You've got to pass a GED before you can go to VOTEC school in prison. One of my best friends, I've helped him his entire life. He has tried and tried and tried to pass a GED. He can't, but he could learn a skill. And he was able to get a job. He's had 4 promotions, and he'll make $60,000 this year. That's good money. So even if they can't pass a GED, let's teach them a skill so they're employable when they get out, because if they get out and they're not employable, they're going to end up right back in prison. Second thing we've got to do is we've got to have a second chance program at the state level here in Arkansas. I used to own a small business. And as much as I'd like to stand here and look you in the eye and tell you that when I owned a business, if I had a job opening and I had 3 applicants standing in front of me and 2 were, model citizens and 1 just got out of prison, I'd love to look at you and tell you that I was going to hire the one that got out of prison. I don't know many people that are honest about it that would have. So we've got to provide small businesses, big businesses, we got to provide the employers an incentive to give these folks a second chance. Would you rather provide a business a $5,000 or $10,000 tax credit for each of the next 3 years? Or would you rather send them back to prison and spend $26,000 a year on them for an average sentence of, 7 years? Do the math. As President Clinton says, do the math on that. So I think we got to be creative, we got to think outside the box, and we got to have meaningful prison reform in this state.
Thank you, Congressman. Those some tough leaders over there for this party. But thank you all. I mean, I know that a number of you know that you gave some great questions for these gubernatorial candidates. So perhaps they'll be around a little bit later for you to visit with them one-on-one and have some of your questions entertained by them. Next up is the race for Lieutenant Governor, John Burkhalter. I don't believe he made it. And John is running unopposed for the Democratic nomination to Lieutenant Governor. The next race is Secretary of State. I think I saw Susan here. Susan Inman, our Democratic nominee for Secretary of State.
They like me.
They love you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. I'm supposed to get out in front here because I'm not tall enough to stand in front of the podium. I'm Susan Inman, and I am running for Secretary of State. I am from Little Rock. I've lived here most of my life. I was married to the late George Inman, and we have 2 wonderful sons, and I have 3 wonderful grandsons, and I'm holding out hope for a granddaughter, but they're not having much success in that. I have nearly 30 years experience in state and county government. 20 of those years have been in election administration. I've had the honor to serve as a state election commissioner, a county election commissioner, and I served as director of elections for the former Secretary of State, Sharon Priest. I want to continue to work to serve the people of Arkansas in the most important part of our democratic process, and that's voting. I want to put my judgment and my experience to work for our state, because right now we have someone holding that seat that many people think is a famous race car driver. He's not, but he has definitely taken a lot of us for a ride. There have been many things occur in his 4 years, or nearly 4 years he's been in office. It's a constant wave in the newspaper of problems and issues. Even in this past week, there have been problems with one of his staff members. I think it's time we restore integrity, transparency, and good customer service to an office that is the chief election officer. You need to know that your elections are run fairly, transparently, and with the integrity that is required to vote. Every one of you vote, and I'll tell you, some of my goals are to ensure that integrity and transparency. I want to bring back and restore the faith in by the people to the Secretary of State's office. I want to look to ways to increase voting. I want to make voting more accessible and available. We need more early voting locations. We need more early voting opportunities. We need to look at ways to make voting easier, not throw up roadblocks and make it difficult. I want to look at methods to improve the voter registration system. I want to look at online voter registration, anything innovative and that can improve the process. I'm looking for that. Our voting equipment is very old and antiquated. We need to look at new products and systems. The voting machines that you're voting on right now are over 10 years old. They're computers. And I don't know of anybody in here that has a computer that's over 10 years old that still works right. So, I mean, these are real, genuine situations that we need to address. I'm Susan Inman. I'm running for Secretary of State. I need your vote and your support. I want to make sure voting continues. I will protect that for you. It's my goal and my aim to serve the citizens of the state of Arkansas. I need your vote. I need your help. I need your arms and legs and voices. Thank you very much.
Thank you. our Democratic nominee for Secretary of State. Next up is the Office of State Treasurer. Our Democratic nominee is State Treasurer is Karen Garcia. Is Karen here? Or Representative? You're speaking on her behalf. Come on down.
Hello. Thank you to the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus for letting me speak tonight on behalf of Karen Garcia, who is running to be your next state treasurer. Karen had a prior engagement tonight, and she apologizes for not being able to be here tonight with you. Karen asked me to speak on her behalf tonight as a former colleague, supporter, and friend. Having worked with Karen in various financial capacities, I found that she is loyal, trustworthy, and honest. This is why Karen Garcia will be our next state treasurer. We have all seen what happens when someone unqualified gets elected. Karen will reform the treasurer's office and restore trust to the people of Arkansas. The Office of State Treasurer needs an experienced professional accountant who can ensure the appropriate controls and communications are in place, safeguard assets, make sound investments, and save Arkansas money. Karen Seeley Garcia is a professional, not a professional politician. Karen is a licensed certified public accountant and has been a CPA in management for 30 years. Before retirement, Karen Garcia was a go-to person for 26 years at Weyerhaeuser, a Fortune 500 company. There, Karen ensured financial systems and controls were properly implemented and operating. Karen was responsible for multi-million-dollar budgets and has extensive supervisory and management experience. This is not an office for politics. The treasurer's office needs an experienced professional that will be honest and work with integrity. Karen is an experienced certified public accountant that will serve Arkansas and will get the job done in a professional, nonpartisan manner. Karen Seeley Garcia is the candidate with the skill set that best matches the requirements of Arkansas State Treasurer. For more information, please visit www.garciafortreasurer.com, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Karen is the immediate past treasurer for the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Next up is the Office of State Auditor, and we have a wonderful candidate for that office, Regina Stewart-Hampton.
Good evening, and thank you all. I'd like to thank the Philander Smith College for allowing us to come out and speak to you voters out there. I want to thank the Black Caucus for allowing me the opportunity as well. Now, do not let this red jacket make you think that I am a Republican, because I am not. I am a diehard Democrat. I am Regina Stewart-Hampton. I am a wife. My little husband's sitting over there. Reg. I am a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt, I am a stepmom. And I also want to be your next Arkansas State Auditor. I'm going to give you just a little bit more information about me. I am an Arkansan, born and raised here. I'm a graduate from UALR. And I have worked in the auditor's office under 2 administrations, 8 years under Jim Wood, who retired and went home. Yay. And then Charlie Daniels, the Honorable Charlie Daniels, came over, and now he's working for the state auditor. So with my 12 years of experience in that office, I know exactly what it takes to make that office work. I have been a public service all my life. In every job that I have had, I have worked hard to please the people of Arkansas. And not only that, this office is not really made for someone to just come in and learn everything all over, like my candidate, my opponent, who knows absolutely nothing about the state auditor's office. So with my 12 years of experience in there, I know what it takes to run the office. We are over a lot of money in that office. Not only that, we take care of all Arkansas state employees, all Arkansas retired teachers, all Arkansas state employees that are retired. We take care of all state agencies. So it's pretty huge. I can go on and on and on and tell you exactly a whole lot. And one of the most important things, too, that for you employees out there that work for the state of Arkansas, When you get your Arkansas income tax check, that check comes from our office. So I know a lot of you all get it, so that's good. But just to remember that office is not a little bitty office. I've had a lot of people say, oh, we don't vote for those little bitty offices. Well, it's part of the state as well. We take care of Arkansas, and not only that, the state auditor's office also serve, and we are public servants for people that are outside the state of Arkansas. So we don't only just take care of the people in the state of Arkansas. It is huge. And so this is what I want you all to remember. Let's keep it right with Regina, because it is the right thing to do. My 12 years of experience should get me there, and I know it's a lot of voters out there, and that's me. I need your vote, I need your help, and I need your support. Thank you all.
Thank you.
She is wonderful. Okay, next, the Office of State Land Commissioner, someone who I think will work really hard on behalf of this state in that office and who brings a wealth of experience. Mark Robertson. Let's give him a good Democratic Party black rep.
Good evening. Think justice. I've always enjoyed coming here. Years ago, we did a conference here on green jobs and opportunity and working on social and environmental justice, and I really like the things that Philander Smith stands for, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Mark Robertson. I am running for Commissioner of State Lands. I need your vote, I need your support, I need your help, and we're going to take the office back and turn it blue. A little bit about me. I'll try to give you real quick on the experience and then what I see the office potential to be. And this is really about an office of potential. 35 years of experience in land and land issues. I'm a licensed landscape architect, land planner, former surveyor for the U.S. Forest Service. I think the land commissioner ought to know a little something about land. I don't know about you all. It shouldn't be just a job because someone wanted to run for office and collect a check and do things that have been done down the road. It ought to be about having a vision of how to improve the state of Arkansas, how to improve the lives of every Arkansan, and how to make a difference. So 35 years of land experience. For the last 12, 14 years, I've never held public office, but I've been very engaged politically. We've worked on a number of pieces of legislation. Some that have already saved the state millions of dollars in energy savings. Why is that important? In order for the office to be transformed as I envision it, it's going to take a legislative agenda. Knowing how to work with legislators in both parties is important. I've had success at it, again, across both party lines of getting bills passed. Nearly 30 years of public service. I've served on over 30 boards, commissions, task forces at the international level, the national level, the state and local level. All of them to improve lives in communities and in the community I live in the state of Arkansas. Those, I think, are all three very important aspects of experience that I bring to this office. I grew up in Fort Smith, went to work early. I'll be 60 in June. But I've already worked 50 years, so I started young. My folks taught me about hard work. They taught me about what it means to be responsible to your community and family, and I carried those values with me to this office. So, what does the land commissioner do? What it's most known for is disposing of tax delinquent property. I think it can do a lot more and should do a lot more. It's also responsible for leases on state lands. I want to ensure that we're getting fair market value on those leases and that we're protecting our resources for future generations. Those resources belong to each and every one of you all and every Arkansan. We need to make sure we're taking care of them and we're receiving the fair market value for them to improve the lives in Arkansas. It's responsible for navigable waters and the subsurfaces, and it's responsible for the historic records. So there's a little about the office, the experience, and my vision real quick. I'm not running because I need a job. I've had a small business that's been very successful, allowed me to travel the world. I think there's room for a major transformation of the office of Land Commissioner. My goal, when elected, is to transform that office and to ensure that every day we're working to better the lives of every Arkansan. It's not just to carry on the status quo. It's Mark Robertson for Arkansas on Facebook. It's Mark Robertson for AR. Website, I need your vote. I need your support. I'm looking for volunteers. We're going to change Arkansas. We're going to work for everyone's improvement. Thank you.
You know, guys with facial hair do good in these races. You know, I just wanted you to know that. Thank you, Mark. Let's give him another round of applause. Our candidate, Democratic nominee for State Land Commissioner. Early on, I said the Democratic nominee, but they actually the candidates for Democratic nominee at this time. But for most of the races, except for governor, they're all unopposed. That's kind of nice. I've run both ways, with opposition and without. That's the best way to do it. But you got some competition coming, and we've got to be ready to get them elected. All right? Okay. Next up is the Office of Attorney General, Nate Steele. Is there someone here on his behalf? Nate is a current member of the General Assembly who's running for Attorney General. And for those who don't know, John Burkhalter is the past chairman of the Arkansas Economic Development Commission and vice chair of the Arkansas Highway and Transportation Commission, businessman here who's running. He's the Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor. Next, we'll go to the race for Pulaski County Judge, Barry Hyde. He did leave? Okay, very good. Then we will go back to the state legislative races. District 36. First up, we have Charles Blake. Charles?
Good evening. Got a little bass in there. I'm Charles Blake. I am running for state representative for District 36. I am actually born and raised in this community. I remember when me and my mom used to come where this building is right now and walk the track. So being here is in this building at this college is a great honor. I am, like I just said, I was born and raised in this district. I have helped start a school in this district. I run a small business in this district. My kids go to school in this district. I've always lived here, and I hope that I will never live anywhere else. I am running for this office because I believe that my educational experience and my professional experience have prepared me for this. I've been a banker and a commercial lender. I've been a school administrator. Now I run a non-emergency medical transport company. So I'm well versed, and I'm a very efficient and effective leader. So this is a position that in a community that I'm very passionate about. This is a community that I'm committed to. This is a community that I'm invested into. So this is not a race for me to come in and want to do something. I've been dedicated to this community for my entire life. So what I hope to do when I get in office is Mike Ross hit a lot of my points earlier, so I'm gonna try to follow up on Mike just a little bit. But I would like to see universal pre-K. Make sure that every child from birth, and it's going to take a while getting there, but that's the end game. Making sure every child has an opportunity for high quality education. We have a school in our district called Rockefeller, where they have a 0 through 4 program, but there's a waiting list for it. It's a very effective program, but it's something that we see good returns from. So if you want to close the achievement gap, if you want to level the playing field, we start before the achievement gap starts. So the earlier we get the children, the earlier we have high quality education, the better off we are. So that is one of my main platforms, as well as career workforce education. As I've been on the campaign trail, and I've been on the campaign trail working extremely hard. Judge Humphrey told me that if I'm doing it right, I will walk holes through my shoes, and I've gone through 2 pair already. So, which also means I'm taking donations and contributions. But one of the main things a lot of residents in our district have said is what they're mainly concerned about is jobs, jobs, jobs. But we have to make sure we are preparing our citizens to accept the jobs that are available, to accept the jobs from the new industry, the green jobs, the tech jobs. And what that comes with is more licensure programs, more certificate programs, more apprenticeships, making sure we are making sure those jobs are accessible and that those people who are looking for them know where they are. We have to make sure that we're not getting the low wage, minimum wage jobs out there, but we're getting high wage jobs that are high skill and high wage, which also means that we have to make sure we're moving people out of jobs and into careers, and that only comes with preparation. So those are the things that I want to fight for when I get in office. And like I said, if you're looking for someone that's going to work extremely hard, running a small business prepares you for that. If you're looking for someone that has educated people, if you're looking for someone that has employed citizens in this district, then I should be your candidate. That's Charles Blake, State Representative, District 36. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Next up is Sheena Lewis, also a candidate for District 36, House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. First, I want to thank the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus, Sanchi. I know it's a lot of you all that helped, but I know you've done a wonderful job trying to reach out to me and Casey also. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Wonderful. My name is Sheena Lewis. I'm running for State Representative District 36, and of course, I would love to have your support and your vote first. I want to let you know that right now that I have been gunning for this. I have been preparing myself to actually be in the House by serving my community. For first off, I'm the commissioner and the chair for the Commission for Children, Youth, and Families with the City of Little Rock, where we handle funding issues. And we fund programs like Tara Shepard's program also, Daring to Strive Together. That's a wonderful program. Thank you, Tara. Also the Boys and Girls Club, and In His Image, the Dream Center, things such as that you see around the community. I'm also the board member and a chair and the chairwoman for Save the Children Arkansas. We handle rural areas, literacy rates that are going down among children, poverty rates as well. I'm the only candidate that's actually worked on the re-election campaign for the Obama campaign. I'm in Arkansas. I don't know if you all visited. It was out in North Little Rock. We were successful, of course. Obama's our president again. Yes. And I run two small businesses. One is a nonprofit organization for girls called Divas Incorporated, where we actually provide scholarships to graduating high school seniors. And we make sure they learn leadership skills as well as preparing for volunteerism also, excuse me. I'm very, very excited about that. I started that back in 2008. I also have a public relations firm that we handle like events, like one of the latest things is the Arkansas Minority Health Commission. I helped put that together as well, and their Founders Day reception that just happened, about 2 Fridays ago. I'm very, very excited. I've been a volunteer since I was 12 years old. My first experience was actually with the City of Little Rock with World Fest. And I enjoyed it, and I felt like I was bit with the volunteer bug, and I just kept on going. I absolutely love it. I'm the only candidate also with legislative experience, 8 years to be exact, from working at the Bureau of Legislative Research, and actually was stolen away by the Arkansas Insurance Department where I was instrumental in trying to lead the efforts with the legislative package there. I'm very, very excited. I would love you all's support. I'm just ready to just hit the ground running, and I would love for you to, of course, go on my website. It's electsheenalewis.com. If you ever need to call me, I would love to hear your concerns in your community. It's 501-707-4504, and I would just appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you so much.
Don't y'all go too far. Y'all have questions. I think you've adequately answered why you're best qualified, so we'll skip over that since they won't let me ask but 2 questions. The next one is, what are your positions regarding a reform to our property tax-based system of funding public education? I'll take you first, Ms. Lewis.
Over there. Yes, that's a very good question, of course. And one of my platforms is actually pre-K education through post-secondary education. Like Mike Ross was saying, of course, we want to make sure actually that we have more funding for pre-K. We have not been provided any additional funding, in 7 years. Of course, it came up in the legislature near like the end, and it was not funded any additional funding, which I was very, very disappointed about, and that's one of the things I was actually following for quite some time now. And of course, when I get in there, I'm going to make sure that it gets funded appropriately, and trying to make sure that scholarships are available more than often than it has been in the past, like the Lottery Commission. If there's anything I can do to make sure that they get the appropriate funding for pre-K all the way up to the top, that's the most important thing. We can't just stop at pre-K. Of course, we want for all the kids to have an equal footing, but we also need to make sure the kids that are up there in age also get what they need. Let's not stop there. Of course, the third grade level campaign, have you ever heard of that before? The Arkansas Campaign for Grade Level Reading? I was actually helping with that as well. So that's one of the things we also need to focus on, not just pre-K, but just on up. Thank you.
Repeat the question one time, Mr. Jones.
Sure. The question is, what are your positions regarding a reform to our property tax-based system of funding public education?
We need to make sure that every child has the equal opportunity at receiving equal funding for education. No matter if they live in the South End or College Station or Chenal or Maumelle, it doesn't matter. We should make sure that every citizen that is paying taxes, that every tax dollar, regardless of your zip code, is making sure that every child is getting equal dollars to equal education.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you both. Next up, for both of you, if elected, would you support a medical marijuana bill? Why or why not? Mr. Blake.
I guess we're on a college campus. We're not at a stage as a state to make sure that we can just go out and pass or support medical marijuana. It's more research that has to be done. We should look at the states that have passed the medical marijuana bills and see what their issues are, see what success they're having. I know in the state of Colorado, Mike Ross was just talking about nonviolent drug offenders. I know in the state of Colorado, in the first couple months after they passed their medical marijuana bill, actually they passed a little bit more than medical marijuana, but it was the arrest rates for marijuana possession and selling declined tremendously. So we should look at what the benefits are from other states that have passed it, and make a decision once we know what the best route is to take.
I would say that I would need to look at all the research studies, but I will say this. There's some people that are sick, that are hurting, and it would actually help them, like people that are going through cancer and those kind of treatments. So I would not just disregard it totally, but I would like to know more information about it. But I know there are some people close to me, actually. I've actually had a cousin that just passed away of cancer just recently, Mr. Larry Shine. I don't know if you all know him. But people such as that would actually benefit them to have that medicinal marijuana. So I would have to look more into it, but I'm in agreement of people like him using it.
Well, they had some more good ones for y'all too, but I'm just gonna have to move on. Next up is the office of Circuit Judge, 13th Division. I think we have two candidates here, Mr. Ernest Sanders and Mike Reef would have been my first choice. Mr. Reef, you get to go first since I butchered your name.
I want to thank Philander Smith College and the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. As Mr. Jones said, my name is Mike Reef. I'm running for circuit judge in Pulaski and Perry County. I live in Little Rock. I'm married to Ellen Reef. We've been married for 25 years. We've got 3 children, Rebecca, who just graduated from college, Will, who's a sophomore in college, and Rachel, who's a senior in high school. I've been blessed with 25 years of marriage and 3 wonderful children. But I'm here to report a startling fact. Arkansas has the second highest divorce rate in America behind only Nevada. That's right, the second highest divorce rate in America. Now, everyone in here has seen the effects of a divorce. It may have been a friend, it may have been a family member, it may have been a client, but you've seen or heard about the fights. You've seen or heard about the arrests for domestic violence. You've seen or heard about children being hurt. I've seen cases where parents tried to use their children as bargaining chips. Last year, 13th Division, 70% of the cases that were 70% of the cases that were set for hearing were family law cases. I'm running for this position because I do family law every day. I've seen children of all ages being torn apart by needless, bitter divorce battles. I've seen cases where parents fighting over custody have lost sight of the long-term damage they're causing their children. My parents were married for 51 years. I wouldn't trade all the talks I had with my father or the unending support given to me by my mother for anything in the world. They made it work for them. And when I left home to start my own family, I knew firsthand the value of treating others with compassion and respect. Where'd that lesson go in today's society? I've been practicing law for 30 years, and I've represented almost every type of client and every type of case. What I've gained from that experience is the ability to cut through the fog, to see the truth behind things. What you deserve to know as a voter is that when I'm elected, I'll call it like I see it. What you deserve to know about me is that I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And that simple mantra will help protect children because I won't stand for anything else. Children shouldn't be the parents' battleground. Courts must hold the parents accountable for their actions. Finally, what you deserve to know is I don't believe in wasting time or money with needless drawn-out lawsuits where it seems that only the attorneys win. Now, I've spoken long enough this evening. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, please, before you leave, tell me your thoughts. Again, I'm Mike Reef. I'm running for Circuit Judge, Pulaski and Perry County, 13th Division. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Mr. Ernest Sanders. Ernest Sanders.
Thank you to the Democratic Black Caucus for having us here, and to each of you for taking time out of your schedule to come and listen to us. I attended an event earlier, and they told us that when we're speaking, we're to attempt to engage the audience. So there's a very common expression in society, and when I state it, I'm sure most of you know it, and so I'm going to ask you to fill in the blank. And it says, blank is the best teacher. What is that? Say it again. Thank you. And going right along with that, it also says there's no substitute for experience. Is that correct also? All right. So I want to talk to you about my experience. I started out, was licensed in 1992, started out at the city attorney's office. After that, I went to the prosecuting attorney's office here in Pulaski County, the 6th District. And while I was there, I became what's called a division chief or a supervisor while at the prosecutor's office. At that time, we had never had an African-American division chief in the 6th Judicial District. And so I became the first. I was unaware of that until someone pointed out to me. After leaving the prosecuting attorney's office, I then went to the State of Arkansas Parole Board, where I was what's called a hearing examiner or an administrative law judge. Now, it's not a real judge, but we still sit in judgment of individuals. Now, what my position was presiding over parole revocation hearings. I heard him mention earlier about jail overcrowding and prison crowding. So I was dealing with parolees. And so we listened to the evidence, just like a judge, or what they were accused of doing. Then I had to make a decision on their guilt or innocence, and then make a decision concerning what to do with them. And so I took that job very seriously because I knew that with the stroke of a pen, I was in control of that person's freedom. Just with the simple stroke of a pen, I was in control of his freedom. So I was very conscientious about that, and it wasn't a matter of, okay, you're on parole, you must have did it, let's just send you back. No, some of them I did not send back. I let them stay out, gave them another chance. Like they spoke about, they were a drug offender. Well, you need treatment. You don't necessarily need to go back to the ADC for that drug offense. So that's where my judicial experience started. And also, I been in private practice for a few years. I have a solo practice where I've represented various clients from criminal defense to to family law, probate matters, civil practice. So that's one of the benefits of a private solo practice. You get to do a little bit of it all. And currently, I am also serving as an attorney for the Office of Child Support Enforcement, where we're responsible for judgment of paternities and child support orders and making sure those orders are enforced and carried out. Okay. But the most important experience of all of that is my prior experience as circuit judge. I am running for the position that I've already held. In 2010, I had the privilege of being appointed by Governor Beebe to serve as 5th Division Circuit Judge right here in the 6th District. So during that time, I presided over hearings, listened to the evidence, rendered judgments, just like I will be doing if I'm elected for this position. So my promise to you is that, I will be fair. I will be fair. I will be fair in my decisions. I will also listen to the parties. If there are any attorneys in here, you know that there's nothing worse than going into court and knowing that the judge has his or her mind already made up. They don't give you an opportunity to present your case. I will be fair. I will listen. The ability to listen is very important. And I will render fair and impartial decisions. Now, when people make promises during campaigns, sometimes they don't follow through on those promises. How many of you have experienced that? They make a promise, they get into office, and it seems like they forget what they promised. But I'll do it. And my way of explaining this to you is because there's a favorite song of mine, and the song, even though the song is talking about God, it says, if he did it before, he'll do it again. Same God right now, same God back then. Now, I'm not God, but I'm telling you, my track record speaks for itself. If I did it before, I'll do it again. So I'm asking for your vote on May 20th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's Mike Reeve and Ernest Sanders, both candidates for the 13th Division Circuit Court. Next up is the Office of Justice of Peace, District 6 here in Pulaski County. There are two candidates that I have, Drew Pritt and Donna Massey. First, you're yielding to Ms. Massey. Donna Massey, you're first. Both candidates for District 6. Ms. Massey.
Good evening. My name is Donna Massey, and I am seeking re-election for Justice of the Peace, District 6, and I serve on the Pulaski County Quorum Court. I'm the mother of 4 adult children, and I'm seeking re-election because I want to continue to be a strong voice for Pulaski County. I guess the first thing that I should do is tell you what we do as Justice of the Peace. We are the legislative body of Pulaski County, meaning that we enact laws for the unincorporated areas, which makes my district a little unique because there's no unincorporated area in District 6. So what we do in order to actually enact laws, we partner with other agencies and the city of Little Rock and North Little Rock and Sherwood and so on to bring much needed services to the community. We levy the taxes, we appropriate the budget for Pulaski County. Of the taxes that we levy, it goes to fund the Pulaski County School District, North Little Rock, and Little Rock School Districts. I guess at this point, I should tell you what I've done during my tenure. There are many services that have taken place or that we've enacted since serving, and I'm getting a little nervous. But one of the things that we've done that I am very proud of is our partnership with HUD. Through HUD, we've allowed a lot of we've allowed a lot of families to receive rental assistance. And not only have they received rental assistance, some of them have gone on to become homeowners through our homeowner partnership program. So I'm very proud of that. Not only that, but we provide for Central Arkansas Transit. We partner with the City of Little Rock and Central Arkansas Transit to bring much needed transportation to Pulaski County. Some of the projects that we have that have impacted infrastructure in Pulaski County. When I first took office, we had a lot of areas, unincorporated areas, which had no running water. They weren't connected to city services. There was Valentine Rutan, there was College Station, Rixey Road. All of these areas now have city services. So now they have a sewer system. So I'm very proud of that. That is something that we accomplished since I've been in office. We also provide services with the Southwest, with our health units. We have 4 units. We have one in Jacksonville. We have one in College Station. We have a unit in District 6. And our newest unit is in Southwest Little Rock. Thank you. A couple of other things that we've done. We've adopted a land use plan to protect our drinking water. I'm very proud of that. And we have increased the capacity to our regional detention facility without increasing the burden on the taxpayer. In regards to economic development or infrastructure, when I think about infrastructure, economic development goes hand in hand. And a lot of people in District 6 often don't see a lot of the plans that have been said before us in order to bring economic development. One of the things I'm very proud of is the work that we're doing on the Main Street corridor. Through our Brownfield initiative, we were able to give revolving loans to developers in the amount of $3 million to build the apartments, the lofts on Main Street. There's going to be a hotel that's going to be on Main Street. All of this was through our Brownfield initiative. So that $3 million has now leveraged $37 million. Another project that I'm very proud of in regards to economic development is our All Weathers Panels company that came into the community. And they had to hire, the requirement was they have to hire 51% of the people or the citizens that are making below poverty level. The jobs range from $15 to $35 an hour. Last but not least, as I said, well, should I say going forward, 2 things that I want to continue to do. I want to see 10 cents out of every dollar that goes into our regional detention facility. It should go to prevention and intervention, because if we're going to incarcerate, we must rehabilitate. Currently, we know that our jail is overcrowded. You can never build yourself out of this situation. We must invest in prevention and intervention. There are other things, but my time is up, so I'm going to say one other thing. Going forward, I also like to see us partner with the City of Little Rock to enhance the infrastructure to our Asher Street corridor. I am your Justice of the Peace for District 6. We'd like to keep Pulaski County moving forward. I need your vote. I need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Massey. Next up is Drew Pritt.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus and those of you who have come out tonight to listen to the different candidates as we speak. I'm running for Pulaski County Quorum Court not because I want to run and oppose a person, but because I believe that there are powers that are written both within the Arkansas State Constitution and within that office where we can do more. We can't settle just for what we have right now. Donna, you have done a great job for 14 years. But there's an old saying that fish and diapers should be changed for the same reason. We need to do the same with our elected officials. Perspective changes. And there's different things that we have out there. It's a crime that right now, when we talk about the county jails, we talk about what we have to do with incarceration and we have to give an opportunity. But here's something else that we have to take into consideration. Two things about our county jail. Number one, do you realize that the highest paid Pulaski County Sheriff's deputy gets paid the same amount that a Little Rock police officer gets paid in 5 or 7 years? We are hemorrhaging those individuals that we put into that position that we as taxpayers pay for to go to be trained to become Pulaski County deputies, but then they are rightfully so going to find a better opportunity. And we are losing that talent there. And I'm telling you, the second reason why what we need to look at is we have crime in Pulaski County not because we have a drug problem. We know what the problems are. We have crime in Pulaski County because we do not have opportunity for our young people here in Pulaski County. We need to see more jobs south of I-630, not just west of I-630 and north of I-630. We need to give our young people a reason to take what they learn in school, what they learn in VOTEC, in all these different areas. We need to give them somewhere to take those skills, and we have to give them the idea that there is more out there than what they hear in that life. There's another thing, too. According to the Arkansas State Constitution, and for the county also here, Section 69 of Act 742 of 1977 of the Arkansas Annotated Code states that the quorum court does have the authority to give some latitude, and it says that the county acting through the quorum court may exercise local legislative authority not denied by the federal government. I'm going to tell you something. When R.J. Hampton started tapping on that glass ceiling and was the first African American to run statewide and ran for governor in 1970, I could be put in jail. You see a white man standing up here, but I'm also a gay man. And in 1970, it was illegal to be gay. And we've moved forward as a society. And by the way, Regina, you're going to break that glass ceiling come November, and we're going to make sure you do it. And I just want to say something real quick right now. I'm going to take you all to church real quick. Nobody paid people to run on the Democratic ticket. We're Joshua's army in the Democratic Party. God takes a smaller group and does great things with the smaller group. Every single Democrat that is running this year is not in there because they were put in there by power brokers. They are running for office because they are experienced, they are talented, and they are the ones that are going to continue to move Arkansas forward. Do you want Asa Hutchinson, who is the 3 loss with a cross, running for the 4th decade to be our governor? Or do you want a man who went to Congress and who fought for Arkansas and brought jobs back to Arkansas and brought opportunity back to Arkansas and has the ear of both President Bill Clinton, President Barack Obama, and has the ear of our outgoing governor and our Senate and our congressional delegation? Do you want Tim Griffin to be your lieutenant governor? Or do you want John Burkhalter, who is highway commissioner and who also built around this state here? We have talented Democrats that are running, and let me tell you, Regina Stewart-Hampton will not need on-the-job training. She, unlike Andrea Lee, will be able to step in day one and be able to make sure that we have the right experience in the auditor's office. And I want to say this right now, regardless of who wins, that was not a slight against you, Donna, because regardless who wins, you got somebody who's going to fight hard for District 6. South of I-630, west of Roosevelt, north west of Roosevelt, sorry. North of Roosevelt, west of the highways, and east of South University. I hope if you get up there, you fight to make sure our sheriff's deputies get the salaries that they deserve. And one last thing, one thing that I'll fight hard for is to make sure that that light rail system that we've talked about since Bill Walker ran for mayor and was sitting in here in 2006 finally gets built here and gives low-income families another means of transportation in Pulaski County. My name is Drew Pritt. I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Drew, you have a question. 2-minute response. what is your response to the Fox 16 report on campaign fund mismanagement as the Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor in Alaska?
Let me just say this, 2 minutes cannot describe a lot that is said out there. But I'm glad you asked that. Allegations were made about me. Allegations that never were proven. Allegations that there was no evidence of. And I remember what Eleanor Roosevelt once wrote. Great minds discuss ideas. Simple minds discuss people. We have a judicial system for a reason. And I think of one other thing. Margaret Thatcher may have been a conservative, but she said it best. When you attack people personally, it's because you no longer can discuss the issues. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have candidate for Justice of Peace, Richard L. Carroll, District 14. We only had a question for Drew. Okay. Unless somebody has a question for Don. Okay.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Carroll.
Thank you for having me here, the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus on Philander Smith campus. I'm a former state rep who ran in North Little Rock, District 39. I have asked to seek the office of Justice of Peace, District 14. It goes out to Maumelle in the Morgan area. It is starts at Pike and the riverfront and moves north and west away from North Little Rock. So I'm moving into what I classify as a Republican area of the district. It is a strong Republican seat that's been held for the last few elections by Republican. I would like to seek your help in bringing it back to the Democrats and having the office as a Democratic seat in the 2014 and thereforward. I'm a Boilermaker. I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not a politician for a livelihood. I seek out issues. I speak my mind for the people that I represent. I seek out what information I get from the members of my district, and I try to speak those issues for my district. And I know one thing that we will have to do and have to keep a close eye on. We have a lot of highways that are being restructured in this area. Maumelle is going to be handcuffed from the west and north. The river bridge is coming down. You're going to have to reroute yourselves. The county roads are going to have to be used excessively to maneuver around this county. And our county roads are going to have to, I have no say over it. I manage the budget, but people who have complaints about it, I will take those complaints forward and see what we can do to get that taken care of. Because it's very important that the people get to the places they work and the places that they go to school and the places that they have to get to the hospital or to visit family. And with that, I ask for your support. I ask for your help. I need a lot of people to walk the area. And if you would like to, see me afterwards, and I'll give you some information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Are you the only Democratic candidate running? Yes. He's unopposed in the Democratic primary. Next up, We have 3 distinct members of the Arkansas General Assembly that are here who serve this state with honor and integrity, and I believe all of them are members of this organization, and I've been asked to allow each of them to stand up and say who they are and where they represent. We'll start with my senator, the Honorable Linda Chesterfield. I just claim her, I always have.
My name is Linda Chesterfield. It is an honor to be here. And my name is Linda Pondexter Chesterfield. It is indeed an honor to be here. I'm a lifetime member of the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus. To my chair, officers, and friends, thank you so much for your confidence. You could have run somebody against me. I would have tried to work them in the ground, but you could have. One of the things that I have been working on all day, and I shall be brief, is trying to find a way to fund and maintain the funding for public school employees and for Arkansas state employees. Because if we are not very careful, the health insurance plans that we have in place now for them will be priced out of the market. We're also fighting to maintain the private option. It is not a given that individuals will be able to have health care expansion. But please know that those of us who are here, those of us who have served you before, will continue to fight for those things that we know to be important to this community. Good schools, good jobs, reform for those individuals who are incarcerated, and finding awareness, prevention, and intervention for those young people who are in trouble. I thank you again so much for allowing me the opportunity to serve as your state senator. May God bless and keep each and every one of you.
Thank you, Senator Chesterfield. Next up, the Honorable Charles Armstrong.
I would just like to say good evening to everybody. And I'm proud to have the opportunity to stand before you, the Arkansas Black Caucus, and which I'm a part of. I became a life member about a month and a half ago. And I think this organization is doing great work. And as a state legislature and representative in District 30, serving on the Education Committee, and education is near and dear to my heart because I can go back to when my mom and dad didn't have an opportunity to even get a high school education. They grew up back in the 30s, back during the Depression time, when you had a school just 3 miles away, and they could not attend. They came out of school with an 8th grade education to go to the work for the fields. And just 3 miles down the road, they could not attend because of the color of their skin. But they set goals for their children. It was 5 of us, and they wanted all of us to get a college education, in which we did, because of pressure put on by parents who was concerned. And I know one reason that we are probably failing some in the educational system is because we don't have the parents involved into their children's education. We need more parental involvement. One of my sayings is, it takes a village to educate a child. You got to look at your children. They are your future. These are our future leaders, our future doctors, lawyers. They're the people that's going to take care of us when we get old. So we've got to put pressure on the home, the church, and the schools, and the business communities. I was up in northwest Arkansas last week, and I saw a lot of job opportunities up there. But you got to have the education to get these high-paying jobs. We cannot stay on the bottom as a race and take the lower-paying job. We've got to equip and educate ourselves to the fact. We've got to look at vocational education. That's one thing that we forgot about. One of the things is we got to get everybody ready for college. It's a disgrace if you go out and say, I'm going to be a plumber. Who do you call when your sewage line or your commode stop up?
A plumber.
You call a plumber.
You pay them a lot of money, too.
You pay a lot of money because it's hard, and it's hard to find. It's really hard to find. We need electricians. We need all of these people. Last week they talked about welders making $120,000 a year if they are certified. So these are the things that we've got to bring back and let our children know that it's an opportunity out here. It's not always an opportunity being a social worker, because those jobs are fading away fast, because we got a lot of people picking up degrees in social works, social studies, psychology, and that area. We got too many of them. So we need to let the younger generation know where the jobs are and put pressure on them. And like another thing I say, it's cheaper to educate than it is to incarcerate. And one of the things that I plan to do, going back unopposed, is try to get early childhood education for every child, not just the low income or the people under the poverty level, because we need every child educated. You go into the educational system now. Some of the kids that can't read by 3rd grade, they're your problem people. They are holding the others back. So with that, I'll take my seat and sit down. I can talk longer.
Thank you, Representative Armstrong. Next up, the chairman of the Arkansas Legislative Black Caucus, the Honorable Fred Love.
Good evening. First of all, thank the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus for hosting this event. And Chairman Somerville, or Chairwoman Somerville, you've done an excellent job. Several things I would like to say. I thank God, first of all, for allowing me to run unopposed for the 2nd consecutive term. But I also thank you all, because you all have provided me support, and sometimes we don't always get along, but we always love one another. And so, several things I do want to say, because I led a lot of initiatives, one being here at Philander Smith to invest in their STEM program, over $200,000. The second one is one of the health clinics that Justice of the Peace Massey talked about. I led the initiative to build the new Southwest Health Clinic that will be opening probably sometime in June. But I've been getting a lot of calls lately, and I want to talk about us organizing to get out the vote, because that's going to be the most important thing. Not only to just elect anyone, but to elect some strong Democrats. That's what we're going to have to do this time. I've got calls for your stand your ground laws. Representative Love, what are we going to do? Well, it's only one thing that you can do, and that's to organize and get out the vote. Because the people that are up in the legislature right now, they don't care about how you feel. They don't care. We saw that with the voter ID law. So understand me carefully. People are not caring about how people feel about issues. The only thing that matters is if we have the vote to stop a stand your ground law. So we're going to have to get out. We're going to have to stop being just upset at something. But be so upset that you move into action. And you know, I'm not going to get up my soapbox. All right, so somebody said, don't be up there as long as Charles Armstrong. No, no, but I'm just, you know, I had to dig him every now and then. But I want to thank you all for having me. Thank you all for hosting this forum, and let's work together to get some good Democrats elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stand your ground. There was several questions on that for the gubernatorial candidates. Just want y'all to know that. Next up, we have another candidate for the Arkansas House of Representatives, Mr. Clark Tucker. Will you come forward at this time? Clark Tucker. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening. Thanks very much to the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus for having me here tonight. Excuse me. My name is Clark Tucker. I'm running for Arkansas House of Representatives District 35. I'm a lawyer and obviously a politician, but so you're not going to believe me when I tell you I'm going to try to give the shortest speech here tonight because we're at the end of the night. But because all the issues have been covered so well, there's no higher priority for our state government than pre-K. We have to protect the private option. Right now, there are 150,000 people enrolled in the private option. It could be 200,000 by the next legislative session. So we're talking about 10% of Arkansas's working population. We're not talking about people that we don't know. These are our friends. These are our neighbors. These are our family members. So we have to protect that. In order to do that, we have to have the votes in the Arkansas House of Representatives. And there's no election this fall that's more important than the majority in the Arkansas House of Representatives. We have a unique situation in Arkansas where all it takes to override a governor's veto is a simple majority. So that's why the Arkansas House is extremely important this fall, no matter what happens in the gubernatorial election. The Democrats had the majority for 138 years, and we lost it 2 years ago, and it's 51-49 now. And we cannot see that go off the deep end because it's too dangerous for our state. And so we've got to win back the majority this fall. I'm the only Democratic candidate in my race. I do have a Republican opponent, and so that's why we have to work hard in all of these races, but in particular the State House races. So I'm going to need your help and support this fall, and we're going to elect a great Democratic ticket. We've got some great candidates here tonight, statewide, local, and otherwise. So thanks very much for your time here tonight, and I appreciate your help, support, and vote this fall. Thank you.
Where's your district?
District 35.
Where's that?
Oh, it's in Little Rock, so it's kind of central and west Little Rock. It's everything between Cantrell and the river, starting at the very tip from the Dillard's headquarters all the way out past Pinnacle Mountain. And then it goes south of Cantrell in a couple places. One is kind of Crestwood and that area, and then Breckenridge. It goes down Reservoir, out 630 and back up 430. So that's John Edwards.
John Edwards.
Yeah. So the seat has never been held by a Republican, to my knowledge. John Edwards won the seat when he ran the first time by 77 votes. So it's a tough. I'm going to have a tough race. Which is why I need your help and support this fall. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Good luck, Councilor. Okay. Now, are there any more county-wide candidates here? Any more statewide candidates? State legislative candidates? Any county candidates? Any Pulaski County candidates or Pulaski County officials who are here want to stand up and be recognized? City officials? Any city officials? Council members? Okay, that's everybody. Well, listen, thank you all for allowing me to serve as your moderator this evening. Thank you, President Somerville, for your leadership and for all that you do. Listen, it wasn't my job here tonight to tell you who to vote for, but to allow these candidates to have an opportunity to be heard and to share their views. What I will urge each of you to do is, I think I'm preaching to the choir in here, the importance of going out to vote on Election Day, actually to start early and vote early, and then make sure that by Election Day you have voted. But what's really important is that you vote. So choose the candidate of your choice. You've got some great candidates. More than half of ours in here tonight were unopposed, so that makes your job real easy, but a lot of work is going to be in the fall. Thank you all for this opportunity. President Casey Johnson. Well, wait a minute. We haven't been dismissed.
I know we've been here a while and everybody is ready, but I just had to stand and thank everyone who took time out of their schedule to be here tonight. I know that there's lots of things going on, but you chose to be here tonight, and we appreciate you. I want to recognize the committee real quickly. Rizelle Aaron was our chairperson for this event. Deborah Mitchell, please stand. Lynette Vinson. Sansi Richardson. That's the committee for this event tonight. So we thank them for their work toward this effort. Early voting starts Monday. You go vote and take someone with you to vote. If we can ever be of service to anyone, please call me. My phone number is everywhere. You can find me. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.